Oh, hello, everybody. Hey, welcome to Shields Live again this Wednesday, this Drury Wednesday here in Iowa. Not much else to do, but, hang out with us, learn a little bit, something new. Today, Jan's going to work on the different bobbin thread, bobbin cases in regards to your different embroidery machines. There's some that are embroidery only, some that are combo machines. And it's just one of those things that we kind of overlook, but there's a lot of questions. So we thought this would be a good opportunity to try to educate you a little more on those things. Again, we got a drawing this week, so from last week, so we'll do a live drawing. This week, we're going to give the Serger book. This is a really nice Nancy Zeman Serger book, as well as the ever so coveted Shield Sewing Center long sleeve T-shirt. Yes, I mean it is. All of my kids and their friends seem to love them. So anyway, we'll be giving that away, and we'll reach out for sizes. So as I draw, and let's just get one. All right, this is Karen Kramer.
Karen
Kramer is the lucky one.
She's gonna come to get her
and
machine.
She's coming to get her machine. So good timing.
Awesome.
Again, thanks everybody for sharing, commenting, and liking. That as always, it really helps us out. It helps us get our name out. Directs traffic to our website, which always helps. So again, I will let Jan take it over. Thanks for joining us, and I'll see you back here in a little bit. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. So happy Wednesday to everyone. Just a second here. I'm going to turn off the little banner. Okay. Get the comments up here so I can see. Hello. So I've been having a lot of questions about bobbins, bobbin thread. What do I use in the bobbin? And specifically kind of embroidery. Oh, Colleen Damon, just so you know, and I don't know if you saw, you actually won a prize a couple of weeks ago. So I didn't know if you saw that or not because you're here now. I'm just going to tell you that. So there's a prize here for you from a couple of weeks ago from Shields Live, okay? Just wanted you to know. I wasn't sure if you saw it or not. But so I've had a lot of questions this last week, and I thought, let's just talk about this so we understand what you use the bobbin cases for, what kind of thread you use for this and that and the next thing. So I'm just going to turn this over, and we're going to talk about all these little things I have laying over here. Okay. So let me get my camera set over here so you can see my machine. Now, I probably won't really sew today, but then you'll have an idea what you need to use and when you need to use it. Okay. So I'm going to lay my phone over here too, so I can see the comments a little easier, so I don't have to turn my head so much. Okay. All right. Oh, yeah, all kinds of folks are coming in. Hello, everybody. All right. So this is probably one of the number one questions I get. Okay, so everybody asks me about, yes, it will, Nancy. And I will also have it on YouTube. So either place you can watch it again, okay? All right. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is bobbin thread for embroidery. So a lot of you have embroidery machines. And when you buy an embroidery machine, okay, so then all these other things we're going to talk about too. But when you buy an embroidery machine, and there's a couple of different kinds of embroidery machines. There's some that just embroider. Okay, so embroidery only machines. And then there's also machines that sew and embroider. Okay, so depending on the type of machine that you own or have purchased, you will have different kind of bobbin thread. Now, this is embroidery bobbin thread. You want to embroider with it. Don't sew with it. Because if you sew with it, it's not very strong. It's not as strong as regular thread. So your seams may rip out. Okay, so it's made for embroidery, which does not usually require a lot of strength in the bobbin thread. So let's talk about this. So Brother makes bobbin thread, and this is the Baby Lock. So Baby Locks and Brothers are there. It's actually the same, but Baby Lock calls theirs finishing touch. Okay. So there's two different colors spools here. Okay. So if you have a combination machine, we're going to pull these down first. If you have a combination machine that sews and embroiders, you will have received one of these kind of white or tan colored spools. Okay, and this is embroidery bobbin thread. This came with your machine, and you can purchase this in the store. Okay, this is 60 weight bobbin thread. So if you have an embroidery machine and a sewing machine combination, this is what you receive for embroidery bobbin thread. Okay, it's number 60. Okay, so the baby locks will come with the finishing touch, and the brothers come with the brother. It's the same thread, but you know, I had both, so I wanted to show you. Okay, if you have an embroidery machine only that only embroiders and it does not sew, you received one of these bobbin spools of bobbin thread that is green. And you can see it is a number, I don't know if you can see it very well. Let's see if I can get it so it'll focus for you. It is a number 90 thread. So this is thinner thread than the combination machines. So these are number 90 embroidery bobbin thread this is for the embroidery only machines. So depending on the machine you own, you will have gotten either a green spool or the white spool. Okay. So with that being said, okay, this thread is for embroidery. Like I said, don't sew with it. Now, many of you we're going to talk about winding bobbins. Normally for my combination machines, and that's what I've got right here, okay? My combination machine that sews and embroiders came with 2 bobbin cases. Okay, so we'll talk about those now. I have the bobbin case that's in the machine, and I don't know if you can see this too well, but it has nothing inside. It's just silver inside. And it has kind of a green mark on the little tightening screw. We want to leave that screw alone. Don't mess with that screw. Okay, that's something that Ron will do if he needs to adjust your machine when he's servicing it, but don't mess with that. Okay, this is in the machine. This is your standard bobbin case that you use for your sewing. Okay, and if you are winding your own embroidery bobbin thread on the standard bobbin, which is the ones that come with your machines. Here's an empty one. Okay, you will use this bobbin case that comes in the machine, the one with the green dot in it. Okay, so that's the one that would be in my machine if I was winding my own embroidery bobbin thread, my number 60 embroidery bobbin thread, on my standard bobbin when I'm embroidering. Okay, some of you are doing that. All right, so that is the bobbin case that I will use, the one that normally is in the machine when it comes out of the box. Okay, so that's that thread on this bobbin. The other option would be to use a pre-wound bobbin. Okay, and I know a lot of you like pre-wound bobbins, so do I. However, the pre-wound bobbins are slightly thinner thread. It is a number 60, but the thread is always a little bit on the thinner side. Okay, this is a pre-wound bobbin. This is actually a size L bobbin. So you can see this one's a little skinnier. And it will basically fit right inside the standard bobbin that if I were winding my own bobbin thread. Okay, so this one is a little thinner, so I'm going to show you another little piece here. But this bobbin needs to be used with the second bobbin case that comes with your machine. For those of you with combination machines, we're still talking about combo machines, okay? This is the one this is the bobbin case with the little green mark on the screw. This is the one that's in the machine, okay? You will also receive another bobbin case, and depending on your machine, it could be a different color inside, but there will be another bobbin case that's usually in with the embroidery unit normally that has a dot in the center of it. So see, the regular one doesn't have any dots. It's just plain in the center. This one has a dot. Okay, now the particular bobbin case for my machine, this is a VM 5200. This one is blue in the center. Some of you may possibly have a bobbin case that's kind of pink or reddish colored in the center. Okay, this is the bobbin case for pre-wound bobbins. So if you want to use your pre-wounds, which I like to use my pre-wounds, this is my shorter one. These are my L's. These are the older ones. Really the only bobbins that I would recommend you use for pre-wounds are NEBs. These are NEB pre-wound bobbins. They are L's. They are the smaller ones. So I'm going to show you a couple options here. I like to pull off a little thread when I put this in the bobbin case because they are a little tight. Okay, so I just pulled off a little bit of bobbin thread, and I'll just, I just pull off a couple yards of bobbin thread. Okay. For these pre-wound bobbins in my combination machine, I am going to be using my bobbin case that has the blue dot in the center. To take these bobbin cases in and out, let's do that first, and then I'll show you the bobbin in there. I'll put the regular one back in, and we'll start from scratch here. Okay. So this is your machine. Most of you have a machine that will be like this with the kind of gray plastic thing on the front. If you have a Luminaire or a Solaris, you will have a one-piece bobbin or a needle plate that you take off and the whole thing comes off. But most of the machines have this gray plastic on the front. Okay. This pulls off. It's just got like little clips that clip on. So if you stick your finger in this little crevice right here and pull back, it just comes right off. Okay. And that will expose your bobbin case, which is right here. So I'm going to get a little closer so you can see. Turn my camera a little bit. Okay. Pull this down a little bit. It's not wanting to stay down there. Okay. So this is my standard bobbin case that normally comes in the machine. I'm going to grab a hold of that with my first finger and my thumb, and I'm just going to pull it straight up like this to remove it. Okay. Set this aside, and now I want to use my pre-wound bobbin. I'm going to grab my bobbin case that has, in this case, mine has the blue dot. Depending on your machine, you might possibly have one that has kind of a pinkish dot, and they have different bobbin cases, so I don't have every bobbin case here. But it will have a dot in the center, okay? So I'm going to put this bobbin case in now so I can put my pre-wound in it. There's a little white arrow right here on the bobbin case, and on the side of the machine, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, there's a white dot right here. Okay, those are going to line up, and the fuzzy thing on the back of the bobbin case goes under the needle plate. You notice that this metal needle plate is on the machine. This must be on the machine when you put the bobbin case in. Do not lay this metal bobbin or needle plate down on top of this because it will pinch it. So this has to be on the machine when you put your bobbin case in. So I'm just going to tip my bobbin case down. I'm going to line up the little dot and the arrow right here. And it's going to just slightly jiggle back and forth. And this is my tight bobbin case now for my pre-wound bobbins. I can put my little gray door back on. Make sure it clicks all the way in. Now I'm ready to put my pre-wound bobbin in. Now, this bobbin is thinner than this bobbin, as you can see. This is your standard bobbin that you normally wind. Okay. Now, they make this little device so that this bobbin, since it's narrower, it'll raise it up just a little bit so that the bobbin sensor on your machine will work better. Because when the bobbin sensor works, it has to come together to make it stop. And this bobbin being narrower, it may not come together. It's like little lights that it won't come together correctly, and the machine will not stop. Okay. So that's why they make this little post, and you would have also received one of these with your machine. Okay. This little post, and it looks it's about the size of a nickel, and it has a little post in the center. Okay. Then you put this down in the bobbin case, and this will raise up this bobbin. Okay. And I'm going to put the bobbin in. This is my pre-wound in my dotted bobbin case. I'm going to put this in on top of that post, just like any other bobbin. And that makes that bobbin set up just a smidgen so that the bobbin sensor will work better. And then I will put my bobbin door on. Okay. You do not use that post for your wound bobbins, your standard bobbins. It's too thick then. The standard bobbin goes in the bobbin case alone, not with that post. Okay. So this is my tight bobbin case with my pre-wound bobbin. So when you're using pre-wounds, you need to be using that dotted bobbin case. All right. So it's either going to be pinkish or it's going to be blue. Now mine's blue. Okay. So I'm going to take this out. I'm going to put the other bobbin case in. Now the other option, and I do this because I find it a little bit hard to get my bobbin out with the post in here. I do use this bobbin without the post. And yes, my bobbin sensor doesn't always work because of that. So what I do is I can hear this bobbin. Remember, it's narrower. I can hear it start to rattle because it gets very lightweight when it gets almost empty. And so what I do is I just take it out before the bobbin sensor needs to go off. The reason being, what happens is about half of these bobbins have a knot at the end, and it sucks everything down if it goes all the way to the end and doesn't stop. So the best way to avoid that situation is to use the post. Sometimes I'm lazy and I don't put my post in because it's a little bit harder to get the bobbin out because they kind of stick in there a little bit. So it's a little harder to get it out. But I would recommend using the post with your L pre-wound bobbins. I've tried a lot of other pre-wounds, and these are the only ones, these NEBs, and we sell these in the store, are the only ones that I would recommend. I've used these for 20 years, and they're a very smooth thread, like the thread that we wind, and it runs through the machine very well. But you need to use this tighter bobbin case with the dot in it. Okay, so that is a combination machine. Now, are there any questions about these things that I've shown you? Your standard bobbin case, okay, has this greenish colored screw on it. Please do not play with your bobbin tension. Leave it alone, okay? This is the bobbin case that I'll use for all my sewing, winding all my regular sewing thread, everything I do. And if I wind my embroidery bobbin thread that came with my machine, which is a number 60, that standard bobbin case is the one that you will use. It does not have any dots in the center. Okay, this is my wound bobbin that I wound myself. So what I do when I wind my own bobbins, like this machine, I usually wind my own bobbins for. So what I do is I buy, 2 or 3 spools of thread at the same time, and I just wind up all the bobbins on the regular bobbins, that I use for everything else. And I put them in a box, and then they're pre-wound, right? So that works really well for me because I don't like to wind bobbins. I still use pre-wound bobbins, my NEBs, but I use them in the dotted or tighter bobbin case. All right, so I hope that's clear. This is the combination machine we're talking about right now. Okay. Now, the next machines that we'll talk about are, I have to get to the other stuff here. A second. Let me put this back in. So this is my regular brother bobbin thread, number 60 on this one. So this one I'm going to put back in here. This is my standard bobbin case that I've got in my machine right now. So I'm just going to put this in here. Okay, so please type any questions you have if I need to clarify anything for you. Most people ask me all the time, and of course this bobbin does not require the post because it's a standard size. Yes, this is the way it is with all of the machines. All the combo machines come with 2 bobbin cases. Okay. And so you need to make sure you're using the correct one for what you're doing and the type of bobbin thread you're using. So if you're winding your own bobbins with the Brother bobbin thread you're buying from us, or the Baby Lock Finishing Touch bobbin thread, you would just use the one standard bobbin case. Okay. If you're using your pre-wounds, you're going to use the pre-wound bobbin, which we sell are the L's, with the post in the tighter bobbin case. Okay. So those are those things. Now let's talk about the embroidery only machines, which are different. The embroidery only machines have only come with one bobbin case, and it is going to be one with, I think most of them have a pink, kind of pink reddish dot in them, or blue possibly. I don't have every single machine here to look at all the bobbin cases. Okay. So it is for thinner bobbin thread. It's set tight. Can I use the Brother bobbin thread in my Baby Lock? Yes, you can, Nancy. Sometimes we have the Finishing Touch, which is the Baby Lock, and sometimes we have the Brother. It's the same, but they each put their own name on it. So yes, you can. It just depends on which we buy it sometimes from Baby Lock and sometimes from Brother. So, and since you have a combination machine, I know you have the Altair, then you would use the number 60 in your machine. Okay. So back to the embroidery only. So if you have an embroidery only machine, you probably you got one bobbin case, and it's going to most likely be either blue or pink, reddish pink. Okay. It is a tighter bobbin case. You also received a spool of bobbin thread, and that bobbin thread is going to be on one of these green spools. Okay, all of the bobbin threads that come with the embroidery onlys are on these green spools. My recommendation to you is to only wind your own bobbins with this bobbin thread. This is number 90. It's a special bobbin thread for those embroidery onlys, and I have not found a pre-wound bobbin that works well on those machines. So I would just tell you to buy the Brother number 90 bobbin or the Finishing Touch number 90 bobbin thread, and wind your own bobbin on your regular Brother bobbins, the regular class 15 plastic bobbins that we have at the store. And these are also all on the website. So if you're further away and you need to order them, they're also on the website. The bobbin cases are not, but all the bobbins are. And so is the bobbin thread. Okay. I would tell you to wind your own bobbins with this number 90 thread and use the bobbin case that is in your machine, depending on if it is blue or reddish dot in the center. Okay, and I knew this was going to come up. In June, can you tell me, June, what type of machine you have? Can you tell me the machine you have first? So yes, you can use embroidery thread in the bobbin. And there are techniques that we do that. So when I do, like when I'm using my combination machine here, I'll tell you, you have a Dreamweaver. Okay. So anytime you wind your own bobbin, whether it be embroidery bobbin thread, which would be your number 60 here that we talked about, because that's a combination machine, just like mine. Or if you use embroidery thread in the bobbin, there's techniques that you want to have matching thread in the bobbin. You don't need to use embroidery thread. You do not need to use embroidery thread in the bobbin except for that particular technique. Don't always change your bobbin, your embroidery thread in the bobbin. I mean, there's no reason to do that. You should be using bobbin thread unless it calls in the pattern for matching thread in the bobbin. Okay. You shouldn't be changing your thread after every single color on the bobbin. You need to be using bobbin thread. If your bobbin thread is showing through the top, that means that you're either using the incorrect bobbin thread or your machine needs to be readjusted. Something's wrong. So yes, Lisa, you should be using number 60 bobbin thread in your Luminaire. That is correct. So this is the thread right here. This is the kind of, clear kind of tannish thread that you would have gotten with yours. So yes, that is correct. This green thread that is number 90 is for the embroidery onlys. Okay. They will come with this thread in there, and they will come with only one bobbin case, and it's tight. So it's either going to have the blue or the reddish dot, depending on the machine. All right. So yes, I can use embroidery thread in my bobbin. So like for this machine, that is my combination. What I do is, let's say I have been using my pre-wound bobbin in my machine. So I'm going to do this again for you. Okay. Let's say I've been using my pre-wound bobbins. Let's just pretend. So here's my pre-wound bobbin with my little post in my tight bobbin case. Okay. We're going to put that one in, and I've been embroidering away with my pre-wound bobbin in here. Second here. Put this back on so I can it's easier to get a hold of if I have the little top on. Okay. Right. So I've been embroidering away with my pre-wound bobbin, my tight bobbin case, and my post. All right. Then in my instructions, it tells me to use matching thread in the bobbin. Like, let's say I'm doing something red and I want it to be red on the back and on the front. At that point, I would then remove my little gray door here. I would remove this bobbin case, because this is the tight one. Remember, that goes for the pre-wound. So I would take my pre-wound out. And then I would put my standard bobbin case back in, wind my bobbin with my embroidery thread of my choosing of my color on the regular bobbin, and then I would use that with no post. Remember, the post is only for those class L skinny bobbins, pre-wounds, okay, the NEBs that we sell. Just a second here. Okay. And then I would continue embroidering with that. When I was if I needed to go back to my my pre-wound bobbin, just my standard pre-wound bobbin, I would then change the bobbin case back. Okay. Now, what I do when I have to do that a lot in a design, some designs you do a lot of embroidery thread in the bobbin and also bobbin thread, so you're back and forth a lot. What I do then is I leave my standard bobbin case in, one with the green little dot on the screw here, and I wind my own bobbin embroidery bobbin thread, which is the number 60 for my machine, on the bobbin, and then I don't have to change the bobbin case out. I can use this, and then I can put the embroidery thread in the bobbin, so I don't have to change the bobbin case out. So anytime I can avoid that, I do. Okay. Now, for those of you who don't want to ever have to change your bobbin case, the easiest thing for you to do, and this is what our technician and Tim recommend, wind your own bobbins. Wind your bobbins with your number 60 bobbin thread, if that is what comes with your machine. So the combinations, wind it off of these spools. You can get about 15 bobbins off of one spool of thread. It's usually 15 and a part of one. Okay. Then you don't have to move that bobbin case in and out. You can just use that bobbin case. All right. If you want to use the pre-wounds, then we have to work just a little bit more to do that, because we do need to change the bobbin case out, because the bobbin thread is always a little bit thinner. All right. So are there any people on here right now that have an embroidery only machine? That it doesn't sew, it's just an embroidery machine. I think everybody, so far that I've seen, I think everybody is just has combination machines. So is there anybody on here that just has the embroidery only? Okay, so what's important about that is that the bobbin cases that come with those machines are tight. These ones with the dots. So we need to use the number 90. You do, Margie, you do. Okay, so you should be using number 90 bobbin thread. and winding your own bobbins. I have never found a good pre-wound bobbin for these machines that really works really well. So I would highly recommend using winding your own bobbin with the bobbin thread that you purchase. Okay. And we always have it in the store because there is a lot of people now with embroidery onlys. So that is the best option for that machine. I truly believe. Okay. All right. Now there's also, now does everybody understand all these little pieces that I've had here? So like, here's my tighter bobbin case with my post and my L-sized pre-wound bobbin. Okay. Yeah, I've never found a pre-wound that works well. I like these pre-wounds. They work very well in my machine, but I do have to change the bobbin case. Okay. And if I don't want to change my bobbin case, I just wind up a whole bunch of bobbins. I'll buy a couple spools of my number 60 thread for my case, for my machine. I'll just have a whole bunch of them in a box, and then I can grab it out so I don't have to switch the bobbin case out in and out so often. So it just depends on what I'm doing, the kind of project I'm doing. A lot of the time I'm just embroidering with bobbin thread. So then it's not a big deal, but in this case, sometimes I have to do something different to make it faster for me. Okay. So these are the pieces that go together. And the bobbin goes into the standard bobbin case without any, or the tight one without any post. Okay. Number 90 thread for the embroidery onlys. Don't put this in your combos. This is for embroidery onlys. Wind your own bobbins. And then the number 60 bobbin thread, which is the kind of whiter, like kind of tan colors, that one is for the combination machines. Okay. Now, there are also some of the machines came with another bobbin case, and I get a lot of questions about this. What is this for? So there is another bobbin case, and this one has nothing to do with embroidery at all, or basically sewing for that matter. This bobbin case is a very different color. It's very light gray. Okay, so you may also have one of these. Not all the machines come with it. This is a bobbin work bobbin case. So you can adjust this case. This is the only case that you'd be adjusting any kind of tension on. The rest of them, leave them alone. Okay. This one is used for bobbin work. So like if I wanted to do bobbin work, I might put some embroidery floss, like hand embroidery floss on my bobbin and put it into this bobbin case. So then I'd have to adjust the tension so that it's quite loose, of course, because that's pretty thick thread. So this one is made to be adjustable for bobbin work. You should never put this light gray one in unless you're doing bobbin work. Okay, so that's what it's for, and it's not for sewing or embroidery. Okay, so if you have that in there, you might want to mark it. It comes usually in a little pack like this. You can just mark it bobbin work. So that's the only thing it's for. It does not for embroidery or sewing. Standard embroidery or sewing, I should say. Okay. So my preferred method now is I actually, for this machine especially, this machine, what I usually do is if I'm just going to be sewing along, embroidering, say, this is my combination machine I have here at the store. What I do is I just put this tighter bobbin case in. Okay. Mine has the blue dot in it. I put this in with my pre-wound. Now I am not, like I said, I don't always put the post in, but I do stop before I get to the end because the bobbin sensors often don't work. So I often use this without the post, and that is okay, but just be aware that your machine may or may not stop if the bobbin thread runs out. So I listen for it, I'm careful, and I change it out before I get to the end. I put this in the machine and I embroider all day. Okay. Use that one, and sometimes I use the post. If I'm going to be doing embroidery thread in the bobbin and bobbin thread in the bobbin, I put in my standard bobbin case that came in the machine. That's what's in here now. And I wind my own bobbin thread with my number 60. And then I wind my embroidery thread on bobbins and then I don't have to change the bobbin case in and out. So it just depends on what you're doing for the day. Okay. So lots of times I'm just using my pre-wound because I'm just using bobbin thread. So I have both, and what I do is I don't like to wind bobbins. I'm lazy. So what I do is I just buy, 2 or 3 spools and I wind them all up at the same time and then just put them in a box, and then they're pre-wound, right? So then I don't have to sit there and wind one bobbin. So I do a whole bunch at a time. Sometimes I'll just do 1 spool, and that's like 15 bobbins. So, okay. All right. So are there questions? Is this making sense to everybody? And does everybody know how to take your bobbin case in and out? Was that making sense to everyone? Remove the gray plastic cover, okay? And it slides back. If you have a Luminaire or a Solaris, there's going to be a little lever over here, and it pulls back, and the whole the whole needle plate pops up. All right. Then for those of you who have the 2-piece needle plates, you just reach in and pull out your bobbin case. Remember, there's a little white arrow and a white dot right here on the side of the metal part here, this little bracket part. You're going to pick this up. The fuzzy thing goes under the needle plate. The needle plate must be on the machine when the bobbin case goes in. And just line those up right there. Okay. Take that out. Then we can put in the tight one if we needed to. This is my tighter one with the dot. Okay. So you can see it's pretty easy to move these in and out. Okay. So we're going to have a quiz before we end here. I can hear Tim, but I'm not sure where he's at. So we're going to have a little quiz. So when do you use the dotted bobbin case? When do we use the dotted bobbin case? What is that for? Go ahead and type an answer for me. And every time okay, what do you use this tighter bobbin case for? This is my combination machine. I know there's a little bit of a delay, so I'm waiting. For pre-wounds. Thank you very much, Lisa. Very, very good. For embroidery, this is for pre-wounds. Okay, this is for pre-wounds because I'm on a combination machine. All right, dot is for pre-wounds. Thank you very much. For embroidery for pre-wounds. When do I use the standard bobbin case with the green dot? When do I use that? When is that one used? I like to give quizzes so that everybody is understanding. So this is the standard bobbin case that comes in the machine. When do we use that one? Oh, Barb's saying hi. So when do we use the standard bobbin case? I know there's a little delay, so people are standard for bobbins, I wind, and regular sewing. That is correct. So if you are winding your own embroidery bobbin thread, you would also use that bobbin case, right? For your embroidery thread on the bobbin, if you need to put embroidery thread on the bobbin, that's the bobbin case you would use. Okay. And all of your sewing threads. So yes, very good. So the people with the embroidery onlys then only have this tighter bobbin case. They only have this tighter bobbin case. So they will use a different thread. And you're going to wind your own bobbins for this. And this is a number 90. I have yet to find a good pre-wound for these machines. I like this number 90 thread that you would wind yourself if it's an embroidery only. So remember that you only have the dotted bobbin case, and it could be pinkish red or blue depending on the machine. Okay, so that is very important that those people are winding their own bobbins and you're using the correct thread in your bobbin. All right, so very good. It sounds like you were listening very well. You passed the test. Everybody did an excellent job. Okay, and let's do one more. Let's do one more. When would you use the post? When do we use the post in the bobbin case? And you should all have one of these with your machine. When do we use this little post? Because this comes up quite often. Why do I need that thing? Because remember, this is my NEB pre-wound. Whoop, there's my regular bobbin. So look at the difference. Look at the difference in the size. For my L or skinny pre-wounds, yes, you would use the posts for the pre-wounds, but it's the skinny ones, not the bigger ones. And like I said, these are the skinny NEBs. These are the ones I would recommend. I've been using these for years and years, and they run through the machines very well. Okay. Do not use the post if your bobbin is the regular size. You know, if it's a size class 15 plastic bobbin, like the ones you wind, you do not need the post for that. It's too tight then. It's only for these L skinny bobbins. So see the difference? All right. All right. Hey, Tim, are you there? Can't hear him. Maybe he left me. We're a little bit shorter today because I wasn't sewing today. So all of these things, if you have questions, please email, text me through Messenger, put messages on the class today. If you have questions, oh, here he comes. So we found him. All right. So let me switch up and Tim's going to talk to you. I never use the post thingy. I don't all the time either, but your bobbin sensors don't work very well without it because it's just not going to hit in the right spot. So I would tell you to use it, especially if you're embroidering with a L bobbin a long time and you want your bobbin sensor to work. All right, Tim, let me get you a different camera here.
Oh boy.
He's back, guys.
Uh-huh.
We found him. All right. Oops. Gotta get this. There we go.
All right. So again, just close out. Thanks again for joining us today. We'll do it again next week.
I don't think we've decided
We haven't
yet.
figured out. So I guess, this is our theme is come back and find out what we're going to do. But
I'll
again,
decide by tomorrow.
yeah, we'll figure it out. Anyway, again, thanks for joining us. Again, like, comment, share. It always helps out. And, we appreciate we're getting more and more people every week, looks like. And tell your friends, anybody else that don't necessarily have brother machines or haven't bought a machine from us doesn't mean they can't come and learn something. So, share with your friends. But again, happy Wednesday. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Bye everybody.
Thank you.